Howdy, howdy, me again. Welcome to Be the Ant Preparedness. Yeah, you can actually see me a little better today. It's nice and rainy out. It's great. It's like high 60s, low 70s, nice and cool. Love it. Anyway, take a minute, if you guys can. Those folks that have suffered because of the hurricane, send up a little prayer for them if you would, please. Hopefully they can get everything back in line. Anyway, on to today's video. Money. Okay, we've been kind of doing a little series about budget prepping. Well, today's not really going to cover any certain items, but just the money in general. And that's where a lot of the non-preppers, that's where they got their problem, right? Your spouse, your parents, whoever, you know, if you want to do the prepping thing, they're like, all right, cool, go ahead, until you say, I'm going to spend this much money on so-and-so, and that's when they say, hey, pump the brakes there, pal, you know? But I'm going to try to show you guys that it can be done on a tight budget, and that's one of the reasons we're doing these different videos. The first one was food, and we did defense, and yesterday we touched on some different gear. But for those of you that need some sort of bug out shelter and you're on a tight budget, okay, for any of us to go out and just buy land, that's pretty much an impossibility, right? If you go to the bank, even if you got good credit and you've got your home and your cars and stuff, and you tell them, it's like, hey, I want to go buy this land, and they're like, no, we don't finance land. That doesn't work like that. There are companies out there. I believe one of the companies, I'm going to try to tell you this, one of my buddies told me about it, called, oh my gosh, I think it's Land Watch, if I remember right. But a lot of their properties have owner financing. Okay. So you can look into that. It's still not going to be cheap, and it's still definitely going to be a hard sell if spouse is not on board with it. But let's say you've got some family property, okay? Family property, whoever, cousin, uncle, aunt, grandma, grandpa, and they've got a little bit of property, but their house is real small, and you really don't feel like staying in the barn. Okay. Also, you know, if you got buddies that you trust with it, you know, and you guys have been long-time buddies and you don't see anything wrong, yeah, see if it's okay if you can put up a little cabin-like structure. You can put up a structure pretty affordably, okay? And here's how you do it, okay? First, you need to sit down and figure out how big it needs to be. I'm going to tell you guys right now that a 16 by 16 structure, I know that doesn't sound too big. I mean, heck, there are some people's bedrooms that are bigger than that. But a 16 by 16 structure, you can put a few beds in it, you know, make you some bunk beds. Don't have to buy everything. You can make it. You got hands. You can put a couple old couches in it, things like that, and it will do. How am I going to say this? What you can do, okay, is if you have a trailer, if you don't have a trailer, see if somebody's got a trailer you can borrow, and you've got a piece of property where you know you want to, this is going to be your bug out location, and you've come to an agreement with the owners that yes, you can put up a little shed, whatever you want to call it. Now you can go to Lowe's or Home Depot, and you can buy sheds, but typically they're 8 by 10, 10 by 12. Those are kind of tiny. Now in a pinch, you just need shelter, so you do what you can do. But I'm going to tell you that if you have a trailer, what you can do is you can build sections at your home. Okay, so it's not even, as far as time, you don't have to worry about going out there and buying everything at once and putting it all up at one time. You can take OSB sheathing, okay, that what they put on the outside of houses. Yeah, underneath all that pretty vinyl siding is just OSB. The reason why they do that, it helps with the structure, and it is semi-waterproof. It's not a permanent thing, but you know, until you can get the siding on, it'll do. But it comes in 4x8 sheets for those of you that don't know. And what you can do is if you're going with standard 16-inch centers on your studs, you will need 1, 2, 3, 4. You will need 5 2x4s, okay, that are 8 feet long. Now, if you're wanting to go 2-foot centers, you can save a 2x4. Heck, if you want to go 4-foot centers, all you need is 3 2x4s. But I don't think codes are going to stick up there. But to each his own. You do what you want to do. But you can just simply lay that piece of OSB down. It's going to be 4x8. Measure 2x4, 4 foot. Cut it in half. So now you got 2 4-foot sections. That's your top and your bottom if it's standing up long ways, okay, vertically. And then measure from the inside of those, which should be 7 inches narrower than 8 feet. Cut your other ones, put them in there, nail everything together, and you have one section done. Okay. And what you can do in your spare time, when you get, you know, extra 30, 40, 50 bucks, go get 2x4s and OSB and put those sections together. Now for a 16 by 16, you are going to need 16 of those wall sections. Okay, I know it sounds like a lot, but if you're doing a little bit of time, it's not that big a deal. You can also do the same thing with the flooring. Okay, if you take thicker OSB, and this is not building a luxury home, this is building shelter, guys. If you want to step up and do a heavier plywood, if you got the money, you do it. You don't want to go too thin on your OSB though. But for the flooring, it's pretty much the same thing, except this time I think you want to go at least 2x6s, probably 2x8s for support. And it's the same thing. Cut the 8-footer in half. You got 2 4-foot sections. Put them on the OSB. Put the floor joist in. They're not studs now. Now they're floor joists because it's your flooring. And put it together. And it's kind of like just a big puzzle. And you can build it in sections that way. That way it's easier on the pocketbook, easier on the time. And then as you go out to this location, if you've got that trailer, take out 3, 4, 5, 6 sections at a time, whatever you got, and find some place out there you can keep them out of the weather. If there's already a barn or a shed, throw them in there. If not, take a couple logs, lay them down on the ground, and put the sections on that, cover them with a tarp, and they'll hold like that for a while. But then once you get them all, you can throw it together. And with the roofing, it's similar, a little bit different, but once again they're going to be 4 foot wide, but this time they're going to need to be 10 feet long. If you're thinking about the peak of the house down to the side, at 10 feet long with a rise of 2 feet, sorry, a run of 2 feet and a rise of 1 feet. That's going to give you, I think it's like a 28-degree angle. Blah blah blah, sorry, brain fart. That's going to be 10 foot with a foot overhang, okay? And you can do the same thing, OSB, plywood, whatever it is, and you can build those sections out. Yeah, get you some graph paper and sketch it all out, and it is possible. If you look at the whole thing, it does seem overwhelming, okay? But like with anything, take it in bites, okay? What is it? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step, or blah blah blah, or whatever it is. Yeah, but take it in bites, and you can have a structure up in a reasonable amount of time. Let me see here. That's easier on the pocketbook. Now it is actually in the long run going to cost you more, okay? For those of you that don't know construction, typically you have 16-inch centers, and pretty much 16, 16, 16 is 48, which is 4 feet. So every 4 feet, instead of having one stud, you're actually having 2 studs there, because the different sections are butting up to one another, and you just screw those sections together. So you are going to have extra 2x4s. But if you're okay with the cost, that's actually going to add more stability to your home. Pretty much every 4 feet you're going to have the equivalent of a 4x4 coming down, okay? Sorry, somebody's texting me. Oh, my wife's texting me the exact same thing. It's so weird. But anyway, if you guys want to know more about this, I will you know, comment down below. I'll try to work up some sketches of what we've got going, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Pretty much for a 16 by 16 cabin, when it's all said and done, you're still looking about $3,000. Okay, I know. Woo, still though, guys, this is over time. This is not all at one time. But that is nails, screws, glue. I like to glue everything together and then screw it. It just helps. That is shingles. That is paint the exterior on that OSB. My thought is just take heavy paint, paint it real good, and next year, if you can afford siding, or if you come up with some idea for siding, do it that way. But if you just take a nice couple heavy coats of paint on that OSB, it'll at least last a season or two for you. But yeah, comment below if you want more information about that. If any of you guys have any ideas, tips on different structures and stuff like that, leave them below. We love to hear that stuff. So until next time, we'll talk to you after a while.